Hey, it's May 4th, 2020. It's my wife's birthday today, so she's still asleep, so I thought I'd do a quick video. Unfortunately, her uh, birthday has become tainted with the May the 4th be with you thing. And I love Star Wars. I mean, the original Star Wars came out the summer after I finished sixth grade and was going into seventh grade, and it changed my life. And then 3 years later, there was The Empire Strikes Back, and then 3 years later, right, the day before I graduated high school, we all went and saw Return of the Jedi, and it was fun. It wasn't quite as good as but I love Star Wars. And then the prequels came, and it was just crushing. And then what's happening now is horrific. And I didn't even bother to see the last Star Wars movie because of what I saw online. And the treatment of the Luke Skywalker character in the previous movie. Well, anyway, apparently that's on the new movie is on Disney Plus today. So I think I'll watch it at some point just to see if it's as bad as they say. But anyway, the real Star Wars Day should be, May 25th? Whenever the original Star Wars came out. And it was called Star Wars. It was not A New Hope. That came later. But anyway, enough of my rambling about that. Yesterday I went out. The quarantine here in Texas was officially declared over by the governor on Friday, where stores can open up in a limited way, 25% capacity. And some restaurants opened, some didn't. So I first went to Half Price Books, and there was a guy at the door, and with a mask on, and he had a clipboard, and he would write your name down, and then he told you, well, right now we don't have many people in there, but if we get more than 18 people in, well, we're gonna have to, I guess they call people and say, hey, you have to leave, you've had your time. And everyone had masks on, and it was like going into a nuclear containment thing. And the only thing I found, well, there's some good stuff, but I was trying not to get too much. I picked up Erie number 116, which is a later period Erie, and 117, and because these are ones I just didn't get when I was younger. I don't think I did. Because this is 119, simply because by that point Erie had become tainted by, well, unfortunately by Star Wars. When Star Wars came out, all of these horror magazines, started to go, have robots on the cover instead of, so and I'm not knocking Star Wars, it just kind of changed the whole, monsters kind of ruled from 1957, in kid culture, into the mid 70s. It was monsters, with kids, with little boys. And then when Star Wars came along, they kind of knocked that out. When R2D2 was on the front cover of Famous Monsters, it kind of the beginning of the end. So then I left there and went to Fry's Electronics to return something that I needed to return, which was a little switch that converts HDMI to RCA so I can watch Roku on an older television. There's a long story behind that. I'll show you in another video. And I bought it like in April 6th, no, it was the first week in April. And I said, if this doesn't work, can I return it? She says, we'll take returns April 6th, I think. So I went back April 6th, and there's a sign, come back May 3rd. And then when I went yesterday, which was May 3rd, they said, come back May 31st, a little sign. And looking around the store, you can just see in the back, there's absolutely nothing in the back. There's no inventory. Most of the shelves are bare. They're not even going to be in business, I don't think, on May 31st. So they're just trying to. So I'm pretty much going to just have to eat that $25. So then I went to Duncanville Bookstore. This is a Duncanville Bookstore, which is a bookstore in Duncanville, Texas. that I've been going to since the '80s, and during the plague quarantine, I guess they had put a lot of books out. So, and there were a lot of books just right up my alley. So, it was just kind of wonderful, and they were all half price or in a $2 bin. So, out of the $2 bin, I got this Dennis. The Menace Goes to Hawaii, and Superboy number 141. I got out of the bin, the $2 bin. Apparently, there's a coupon cut out of the back cover. An issue of Spooky number 119, also out of that same bin. Also out of the, let's see, out of the $2 bin. I already have this, but the cover's so wonderful, I thought, well, I'll just get another reading copy. Not to be a hoarder or anything, but $2, come on. Other things I got out of the $2 bin: Creepy number 39, Creepy number 51. I'm not sure about the lighting in this particular situation. You wouldn't believe how I have this phone propped up. I'll show you in a minute. And then, and then the other section, those were the ones out of, no, there was more. There were more. This was actually not out of the $2 bin, but this was, I got this half price. This issue of Famous Monsters number 50. And number 53 also got half price. Not only did they give me half price, but they also gave me an employee discount just to be nice, because long story. This is number 54 and number 61, 63, this was out of the $2 bin. This is 64. This was out of the half price bin. You know, she was the elderly lady in Titanic, Gloria Stewart. She came out of retirement to do that. And yeah, this was the $2 bin too. Yeah, $2 bin, because it doesn't have a price on it. Can you imagine? And this was half price. Got this in the $2 bin. And then also out of the $2 bin. And this is an issue I just never got in the 70s. At least I don't think I have it, but I got this also out of the this was half price. And then also half price, Monster World number 6. Man, my eyesight. This Monster World was out of the $2 bin. And I got a Best of National Lampoon 1974, but I won't show you the cover of that one. February 1971 issue of Nightmare out of the half price bin. And then out of the $2 bin, I've always wanted this. It's in the $2 bin. And then the Savage Swords of Conan are very common, but I got these out of the $2 bin as well. And these are magazines you never really see, except in old ads for them, but this was in the $2 bin. Another Screen Thrills Illustrated in the $2 bin. These are early 1960s. Also out of the $2 bin, Cullen the Barbarians. I think I already have this issue. I'm starting to wind up with duplicates, but yeah, this was in the $2 bin. Weird Worlds. And this is a Warren magazine that is very uncommon, at least in I've never see it, with Marlon Brando on the cover. August 1961. So that was kind of my haul. That was unbelievable yesterday, and I picked this up at the hardware store, Fort Worth's Rock and Roll Roots. This is worth getting if you Mark A. Nobles is the author. Oh, and I've been waiting to get something from mycomicshop.com, and it wasn't their fault. It was sent, you know, they're in the same town as me, so I was thinking it would just take a day or two to get to me, but the post office sent it to a post office in Frisco, not San Francisco, a town called Frisco here, which is a suburb of Dallas. So it was sent there, and then they realized, because I was tracking it, then they sent it to another post office in Frisco. They wound up sending it to 3 separate post offices in Frisco, and I had to call and put in a search for it, and anyway, then it shows up 2 days later. Anyway, so I got it. It is Comic Scene, which was like a tabloid newspaper, magazine, fanzine, put out by Jim Steranko. He had, this is about the same era that he was doing those history of the superheroes, history of comics. It's a whole issue dedicated to John Carter. And I, dearly love Edgar Rice Burroughs, and I'd always seen this advertised in the old ads for back issues, and and I already have one issue of Comic Scene that is an all horror issue. But what it basically is Jim Steranko designed the FOOM, Friends of Old Marvel fan club for Marvel, and designed all the layout of all the stickers in the magazine. And then I guess he left and did his own comics, not just Marvel, but this covers DC as well. And so as ads for his calendars and posters, and then of course it has articles about the then current issues that were out on the market. And you see this is the 20-cent era. Oh, there's the first issue of The Punisher was out that month. And then all this material about John Carter, who has never had the when at his peak in the early part of the 20th century, was super popular, always never as popular as Tarzan, but since it was never made into movies back then, it was almost made into a cartoon series by Bob Clampett, some map of Mars. But that cartoon, there was only a test reel done. You can see it on YouTube. And this is the section about the then current DC comics. And then in relatively recent years, Disney did a John Carter movie that was really good. It wasn't perfect, but it was really, really good. And it bombed because people thought it was a ripoff of Star Wars, when in reality, Star Wars in part was a ripoff of John Carter. But people are not really aware of that, right down to the kings on Mars were called Jedaks or Jeds. And there were giant mosquitoes on Mars called Siths. Boy, I have kind of bit myself, and I can't speak properly. I'm talking like Sylvester this morning. Anyway, look how they And that's actually the cover. See, it's one of these things like the old Rolling Stone or the Monster Times, where this is actually the front cover, right? And then it unfolds to this, and then you read it like this. But this has been flat for so many years, decades, that I'm not going to refold it. And they sent it to me in this giant, I guess this is meant for a treasury edition. They really did. I mean, they packed this in a giant box with all these peanuts, the styrofoam peanuts. They just did a great job of packing. And my comic shop, also known as Lone Star Comics, is I highly recommend them. Anyway, that's my haul. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you where I had this camera. Let me move it around. The camera was right here, the phone, and I had it propped up here on top of this pinball machine. And so that's how I was filming myself. I guess I need to get back to what I'm doing. This is, I don't know if you can see that. So, anyway, it's May 4th, and I will be doing another video before long. Bye.